Red carpet.
रेडियो ऑलिव 106.3 FM. गुड मॉर्निंग, अनिरुद्ध आपके साथ है वापस एक बार रेड कार्पेट पर. रेड कार्पेट इज अ वेरी वेरी स्पेशल शो जहां पर आते हैं सक्सेसफुल एक्सपैट्स, बिजनेसमैन, खत्रीज एंड स्पोर्ट्स स्टार्स एंड आर्टिस्ट्स एज वेल. टुडे वी हैव एन आर्टिस्ट ऑन द शो, Aparna Jayakumar, and she's a photographer and a photography educator. Aparna, hi and welcome to the show.
Hi Anirudh, it's a pleasure to be here.
So basically Aparna के बारे में बता दिया जाए. She is an art and commercial photographer from Mumbai. Now she is of course settled in Doha. Aparna ने photography, film और art history का अभ्यास किया है in India and Greece. In 2009 she was nominated from India for the international Prix Pictet award. She spent many years on Bollywood sets as well as a publicity photographer. She's a photography educator and she has initiated community outreach programs as well using photography as a medium. She founded Bombay Photo Club in 2012 and now she runs a lovely Instagram project called Doha Fashion Fridays. Aparna, I'm going to ask you a very, very, very important question that probably no one ever has asked you. How did you start your photography journey?
Well, I was around 19 and I was studying at St. Xavier's College and in Bombay.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful college.
Yeah, I know.
And I was studying psychology at the time.
Okay.
But I was really, really keen on cinema and the visual image.
Yeah.
And my mother actually bought me my first camera when I was still in college. It was a Nikon FM10 fully manual camera.
Wow.
Film camera.
Yeah.
This was pre-digital SLRs.
Yeah.
So I mean, makes me sound ancient, but it was a few years ago. I was just crazy about it. I used to take pictures of my classmates, my friends, my on the streets, like random things lying around the house.
Yeah.
My mother was my muse, and I used to really enjoy photography.
Nice.
So that's how, I mean, it was a passion at the time. And then I did a postgraduate degree in social communications media in Bombay.
Okay.
I had fabulous teachers at my social communications media course.
Okay.
And I would love to mention Jaru Mullah, who is the one who actually really got me to fall in love with photography and cinema. Still, I wasn't sure if photography could be a career. So I kind of dabbled in other things. I worked as a copywriter for a bit.
Right.
I worked in ad film production, which taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And then when I was working as a copywriter, I somehow managed to get an assignment from Travel and Leisure magazine, which had just launched in South Asia.
Okay.
And I remember, I mean, now I can say it, but I actually bunked work for 2-3 days, called in sick, and I went and did this assignment.
Yeah.
And
nice.
And when I was there, when I did the assignment and when I submitted it, I was like, wow, this is what I want to do.
Nice.
So I was kind of building my portfolio on the side.
Nice.
And then finally I was around 22 or so then, and I was like, let me just take the plunge.
Yeah.
I got a break to work on a film. And that's how I started.
Which film?
This film was called Little Zizou.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was directed by Suni Tarapurwala.
Right.
Who is also a photographer. She's a screenwriter. She wrote Salam Bombay.
Yeah.
She's a legend.
Yeah. But how was Greece? How was studying film and art history?
Greece was really like eye-opening for me. I spent some time in Italy and then the rest of it in Greece.
How many days? 1 year? 2 years?
No. It was a matter of a few months actually.
Okay.
It was more like a residency than a course.
Right.
Where one could take
better.
electives. So I did like art history and I did silver and digital photography. Silver photography meaning darkroom.
Right.
And it was my first brush with that, which was fascinating.
Nice.
And when I was in Europe, it was like I'd been before, but this was the one time I was on my own living that European life and being surrounded by the greatest art I'd ever seen in my life, and I was just, my mind was blown. And
awesome.
And I was like, wow, this is what I want the rest of my life to be like.
Fantastic. You have that.
Of course, then I had to come back to Bombay. But
and get on board a local.
Yeah, but the last day I was in Athens, I went and got the word today in Greek tattooed on my body.
Wow.
Because I wanted to remember that day forever, because I knew that it had shaped me.
Lovely. As a publicity photographer, so in case जिनको पता नहीं होता है, what is a publicity photographer?
So alongside the cinematographer, there's always a still photographer who's also shooting all the film stills,
Right.
which are used for the publicity of the film. They're used on the posters and any other media marketing that the film has, which it's pretty much the first visual of the film the world will see.
Absolutely.
So it's an important job.
Yeah.
And also the same photographer is responsible for shooting behind the scenes, the actors behind the scenes, the director directing, and the cinematographer at work, things like that. So you're like the set photographer. When you're on a film set, I don't know if you've been on a film set before, but to be around the camera is a great privilege.
Yeah,
most of the ADs are very far away, managing the background actors and stuff like that. So
it's the director's DOP that you hang out
exactly. And I've always been a cinema buff. I mean, I absolutely love the movies. So for me to be right next to this, to negotiate my space right next to the cinematographer and watch everything, watch them lighting, watch the directors at work. It was a real
fantastic.
It's a lot of hard work, but it's also a privilege.
Any favorite movies you worked on?
Well, I think the biggest film I worked on for me, because it was a longest shoot and everything, was Kamine, Vishal Bharadwaj's Kamine. That was a crazy film to shoot because it was at night, it was in the rain, and it was dark and action. So if you're a photographer or if you've taken pictures at night, you know what a challenge that can be. And I remember the first day of the shoot when, Shahid came on set. He was playing a double role, I think, for the first time. So he just told me, don't take pictures. And I froze. I was like, if I don't do that, don't take pictures, how am I going to do my job? And I got really upset. And I was also very young and inexperienced, so I didn't know how to handle it. And I was like, oh my God, these celebrities are so difficult to work with. But then the next day he called me to his room and he was like, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, discourage you from doing your work. It's just that I'm also really nervous about this character, these two characters I have to play. And you walking around in my eye line was distracting. So then I kind of learned the ropes, how to do your work without, being obvious and, things like that, how to accommodate the artist's needs, because, you have to be invisible when you do this job.
What street photographers say, you're not there.
Exactly.
People should know.
Which is difficult for a woman to be invisible on a film set, which is mostly men.
Yeah.
But I had to try.
Yeah. Use a camouflage.
But in the end, I mean, Shahid became a friend almost, and he loved having his pictures taken, and he would make sure I was there. And for another project later, he was in Scotland shooting, and he asked for me to come there, even though they had a local photographer. So we really built a good rapport.
Nice. You shot Shah Rukh Khan as well.
Yeah, so that was also like when the editor of Filmfare, the photo editor, called me saying there's this assignment to shoot Shah Rukh Khan, and I was like, okay, and what's the pay and stuff. He's like, are you serious? I mean, he's like, of course you're going to get paid, but there are dime a dozen people who do this for free. You're going to follow Shah Rukh Khan for 3 days.
Wow.
And be with him, from morning to night, and you're asking me about pay. But I was just like, look, I'm a professional and everything. But that's just a little joke. But the point is that I had never seen that kind of frenzy about one person before in my life. And to see how women literally fall down when he walks in and to have that sort of access to him was just unbelievable.
Aparna, you've done art and commercial stuff. Where do you stand? What do you like more?
Well, I became a photographer to do social documentary photography. So that is what I love the most.
Right. And
street photography, that kind of thing.
Lovely.
But for me, it's a privilege that people pay me to take pictures, to do what I love.
Yeah.
So, and I've had great opportunities. I've met some incredible people working with brands and, commercial clients. So I'm grateful for that.
Lovely. Overall, any particular favorite photographers of yours?
I don't know if those photographers will even be on Instagram because they're from the 1920s and stuff like that. But I really love this Hungarian photographer called Andrei Kertész.
Okay.
He's one of my all-time favorites. In fact, I'm such a fan that I went to the small village in Hungary where he grew up.
Wow.
And he grew up in his uncle and aunt's home, and that home has become like a small memorial. And I don't know how many people have even heard of it, but I followed him all the way up to there.
Nice.
Of course, there's so many incredible photographers.
Typical names: Bresson, Ansel Adams.
Cartier-Bresson, of course, he's like the bap of photography. There's so many. So many women photographers as well.
Yeah. Aparna, what do you like photographing in Qatar?
Well, what I love photographing the most is for, people for my project Doha Fashion Fridays.
Yeah.
It started out as an idea by Khalid Albai, who is a cartoonist, and he also happened to be my next door neighbor.
Okay.
And he wanted to collaborate with a photographer, so that's how it started. And now he's left, so I've taken it over.
Okay.
And what I do basically is on Fridays, I photograph migrant workers on the Corniche and other parts of Doha, because that's the one day they get to be themselves,
right,
and dress up and express themselves through their fashion.
Nice.
So I interview them. I do like short interviews. It's kind of like the Humans of New York meets the Sartorialist, that kind of a project.
Yeah. In fact, so the Instagram handle for Doha Fashion Fridays is literally Doha Fashion Fridays.
Yes, please follow.
Absolutely. And in fact, why don't you give out your website details and your Instagram handle as well?
Well, my website is aparnaphoto.com.
Okay.
It's very simple. My Instagram handle is honestly more personal than
Okay, so
work.
that's Doha Fashion Fridays.
But Doha Fashion Fridays would be the one.
Doha Fashion
follow.
Fridays again.
Yes.
Lovely. And one last message to all the people who love photographing.
I think now everybody is taking good-looking pictures.
Yeah.
But I think what will separate the pros or the artists from the rest of the crowd are people who can tell stories through the images, have narratives, have something to say, people who have care about the world and who can reflect all of those things, because honestly we've seen enough pictures of your coffees and sandwiches.
Yeah, I know.
So can we move on from that? And your cats, my god. Enough cats on Instagram.
Yeah. Something meaningful.
So yes, can we move on from that, and can we do something that would potentially have social impact, or even if that's not what your jam and you just want to be an artist, but at least there should be an unusual eye and there should be some sort of a story and a narrative in your work. And don't be very pleased with your work. Keep pushing harder to be better.
Never be happy. That's true.
Yeah.
Lovely. Aparna, thank you so much for your time. It was lovely. I wish the show was longer, but
yeah, I wish. I love talking about it's been a while since I've done this, so
lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll see you very soon. In fact, we're gonna click your photos now.
Okay.
Okay. Red carpet पर next time it's gonna be someone else. A very very special guest again, of course. Anirudh यहीं रहेगा आपके साथ Radio Olive 106.3 FM पर. Shiv Bindas, guys. Stay tuned in.
Red carpet.